All right, friends, welcome back to the Blessed Family Podcast. As always, I say the same old thing. I'm so glad that you're with us. Today, I'm going to be doing something that I don't think I've done before, and I feel kind of weird about it because I don't like to, necessarily promote my own material. But I am going to be walking you rather through our latest book release, which is called Rites of Passage: Resurrecting a Culture of Manly Sons and Feminine Daughters. Really quick, though, I want to give a quick plug. Next week is our family camp in Grapeland, Texas. And we got about 240 people or so registered. It's going to be a great time. Not too late. You can register at jareddodd.com. You can call, look up the number for Salmon Lake Park in Grapeland, Texas, and you can get some lodging. If you're camping, tent camping, or if you got an RV, there's plenty of room for that. Cabins are almost sold out, but would love for you to join us. All right, friends. Well, as you know, in our ministry, we have this podcast. We've put some stuff on Right Now Media, by the grace of God, 4 videos, and I hope counting. I'd love to do another one someday. And we've got our father-son retreats. We've got our, like I said, next week, our family camp. Next year, we're also going to do a father-daughter retreat. That's on the books, fall of 2026. But we travel around and speak, and we love it. We're spoiled rotten. We believe that you guys are the MVPs, humanly speaking. God's going to use your families to change the world, build His church, and knock down the gates of Hades. But probably my favorite thing is writing because, well, it just stays. I love giving talks, but books, you write it, and it is written, and hopefully, unless some kind of apocalyptic thing goes down, it's going to be here until the end for my offspring to read, I pray. That's the main reason I write, is for my offspring. But anyhow, I wanted to share with you our shortest book. So, hey, some of you guys, you like a short read. This is it. 20,000 words. That's really short. You could read it in one sitting. Rites of Passage, once again, Resurrecting a Culture of Manly Sons and Feminine Daughters. And this book has been 10 years at least, actually more like 13, 14 years in the making. There was a friend of mine that I used to play guitar with who recently passed, Randy Thompson. He was up in Wisconsin. And one day we were sitting there playing guitar, and he talked about Rites of Passage and how he took his eldest son when his eldest son was 18 on a camping trip, and it was Rite of Passage. And he just mentioned it a couple times and really stuck with me, and I started doing research. And I've still got a lot to learn, but it just has transformed our family. It's transformed other families that have, it's blessed other families. And so I said, okay, we've got to do this in book form. And I just want to walk through some of the points of this book, okay? Oh, by the way, a plug out to Gather and Grow Ministry, the Groves family, Rory and Becca Groves. Rory wrote the foreword for this book. So another great reason to get the book is you get to read some of the writing of the legendary Rory Groves of Minnesota. And so that's fun. Just a quick summary overview. I'm just going to go through these 10 chapters very briefly, spend less than a minute on each. But, this is about parenting. And the goal of parenting isn't just to get our kids graduated from schooling. It's not to get our kids just to survive, quote unquote, make good grades and stay out of trouble. Nothing wrong with that stuff. But no, the goal of parenting is to make masculine, produced by the grace of God to the glory of God, masculine sons and feminine daughters. And wrapped up in those words, masculine and feminine, is, of course, godly sons and daughters, pure sons and daughters, biblical, sons and daughters who have a biblical worldview. And then we go through the history of Rites of Passage. And you've heard me mention this before, but something that should embarrass the modern church is many ancient pagan cultures did a lot of stuff a lot better than we do. They understood gender better. They understood male and female roles better. Many of them raised their kids better. And one thing they had, every ancient culture had rites of passage. Okay, whether it's the Native American tribes, whether it's the Mayans and the Aztecs with their quinceañeras, which is carried over into Latino culture. Vikings, and some of them weren't godly rites of passage. It was like, hey, it's time to go, pillage and and thief. So go fight so you can prove yourself a man. But there are redeeming qualities in each of them. Young men were expected at a very young age to act like men, and women act like women. And those passages, those transformations were celebrated. They were greatly celebrated by all ancient peoples. Of course, you have the Jews with their bar mitzvahs. Of course, one of the I can't say greatest, but one of my favorite examples of this in Christendom is, of course, chivalry. And the ideas of young men going from, let's see, what was it? It was pages to squires to knights, right? And it was a process. You didn't just wake up one day and be able to be a knight in shining armor. You had to work towards it. And there were stages involved. And then with the girls, I'm going to get this wrong, but I know it was a lady, and I can't remember the other name, maiden possibly, and then ended with a dame, being a dame. So knights and dames, right? Man, I really want to start a book club. Don't steal this idea. Actually, you can, because I'd love for you to do it. But I want to start a book club here in Burnett County called Knights and Dames. It's all about getting young men and women together to read great books that promote biblical manliness and womanliness. And so then we go through just the basic how to do a rite of passage. What does it look like? And one of the things I love about rites of passage are they are based on principle, not on rules. Like, I can't tell you what age to do it at. I mean, I know what ages we do it at. And I can't tell you how many of them to do. Some people do it one time. We do it 4 times. To celebrate. Okay, now you're a page. Now you're a squire. Now you're which we don't use those words, but it's that same idea. And so we talk about how to do a rites of passage with a son, and we also talk how to do rites of passage with daughters. And there's some very, very important principles in there. Females have actual biological changes that take place when they are now able to produce children, right? And so that is something that has become taboo or an embarrassment, and yet it needs to be reverently celebrated, reverently honored and acknowledged, between father and daughter, and we talk about that. And so building upon that with these rites of passage and how to do them and giving ideas, and I mean, the goal of this book is not for you to do what we do. The goal of this book is for you to do something for your family, and we share with you the principles that shaped what we do. And one of the principles that's very important that parents need to understand, that sons and daughters need to understand, is that of freedoms and duties. Freedoms and duties. So the whole idea is, when my boys and girls get to certain maturity levels and they cross over certain rites of passage, on the other side is more freedom. They can stay up later. They can travel. They can spend their money in a certain way. But there's also duties, right? So freedoms, as the freedoms go up, the duties or responsibilities go up. It's kind of like in the real world. If you get a promotion at your job, you're going to make more money. That's more freedom, but at the same time, you have greater responsibility. And so, this is all about, parents are to be training our children for the real world. We talk about mini rites of passage, which are a lot of fun. They're different but related, and you can do them as often as you want to. We do them all the time. Probably not often enough, but we do them multiple times a year. And then it closes with, a conclusion, testimonies, but it also closes with the power of a multi-generational vision, which if you listen to this podcast, that is a phrase that we greatly treasure, a multi-generational vision, which is really the goal, because I don't just want to do rites of passage with my kids. I want my great-great-great-grandchildren doing rites of passage with my great-great-great-great-grandchildren. And so this is about giving your sons and daughters a vision where they love rites of passage. This is something my kids, by the grace of God, I can't take any credit for it. It's all the grace of God. They love rites of passages. and they're excited to do them with their kids, and they're going to make them better. And that's the vision I give them. I say, hey, mom and dad started this, we kind of pitched this and we've had fun. You guys take it to a new level. And that's the goal. We should want our children to do everything better than we did. I want them to educate my grandchildren better. I want them to disciple my grandchildren better. I want them to do life with my grandchildren better. Everything. Discipline, train. I want them to do it better. Well, friends, that's it. That's it. So I would encourage you. You can go to Amazon.com, type in Jared Dodd Books, and it's there. Rites of Passage. Once again, the goal is resurrecting a culture of manly sons and feminine daughters. Please check out this book. Pick up a copy. They make great gifts. And this is something that you can bring into your church and get your church excited about. And let me just close with pitching this idea. One of the great things about Rites of Passage is when there's a celebration, you invite your church family, your pastors, your elders. You want these people to speak into the lives of your sons and daughters. And so we'll have 50 to 70 people at a Rite of Passage celebration. They all gather around our children and we pray over them. And guess what they all think? They usually think two things. I've never seen this before, and this is awesome. And so now we have other families that I didn't sit down and give them a talk. They just came to the Rites of Passage celebration, and now they're like, I want to do this. So this is something you can have a great ministry in your spheres of influence by resurrecting the idea, the biblical concept of Rites of Passage. Our sons and daughters go up the mountain. Children, they come down, men and women for God. All right, guys, as always, thank you so much. Love you guys very, very much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.